I guess, saw that I was on live stream with Jack Doherty. They took that opportunity to do some.
Talked openly about not having security, and then he's advertising that he's not home on this live stream.
If I see one more comment about someone talking about 6ix9ine, I'm gonna get mad. Or whatever videos you're mentioning, stop mentioning in the comment section. Stop!
No, here, I'm moving for you.
Hey, for anyone that's saying that I had robbed somebody's house, 6ix9ine.
The internet woke up to a wild rumor. 2 viral twins, a rainbow-haired rapper, and a robbery that ended with a terrified mother staring down the barrel of a gun. You've probably seen the comments already. You know it was them. It had to be the twins. Some people dropped their names like they were solving a puzzle, others like they were making a joke. Overnight, the Island Boys, 6ix9ine, and a home invasion turned into one tangled conspiracy thread that nobody could stop scrolling through. One of the twins finally snapped on live, tired of strangers using his name as a meme, tired of being blamed for something he swore he didn't do, yelling at the chat to stop bringing up 6ix9ine and to stop accusing him of robbing anybody's house. But behind that angry live, behind the frustration and the shouting, there was something much heavier than just internet trolling. While he was begging people to keep his name out of their mouths, the rumor mill was already locked into overdrive. The Island Boys were supposedly connected to a break-in at 6ix9ine's Florida home. Not charged, not officially named by investigators, just speculation, stitched together by strangers, slowly getting repeated so many times that it started sounding like fact. And that's the moment our story really begins. Because by then, the rap world had mostly moved on from the twins. Their biggest viral moments were in the rear-view mirror. The songs weren't charting, the hype wasn't the same, and the jokes lasted longer than the music. Still, the algorithm hadn't completely let go. Bright-colored hair, wild styles, chaotic energy, those images stuck in people's minds even after streams slowed down. They were still recognizable enough for the internet to drag back into any conversation that needed a villain or a punchline. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine was still doing what he always does: loud, polarizing, and reckless with how much of his life he broadcasts to the world. Love him or hate him, you know the routine. Loud colors, big talk, piles of cash, and a feeling that he's always daring somebody to respond. On the night everything went wrong, he was on a live stream with Jack Doherty, talking reckless about how he moves without real security, acting like he can walk through the world untouched. He walked viewers through the inside of his spot, joked around, flexed his lifestyle, and made it very obvious that he wasn't at home in Palm Beach. He was somewhere else, laughing into the camera. Think about what that really means for a second. You're a controversial rapper with a history of legal drama. You've testified in federal cases. You wear millions of dollars in jewelry. You have a long list of people who either dislike you or feel like you disrespected them. And while all of that is true, you still hop online and basically announce to the world, "I'm not at my house right now." You show them what the inside of your place looks like. You talk about how little security you move with. Now ask yourself, what happens when the wrong people are watching that stream? Because as he laughed into the camera that night, his mother was still at home. She wasn't flashing money, making noise, or chasing.
Talked openly about not having security, and then he's advertising that he's not home on this live stream.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's silly. I don't know why he's out there bragging about not having security, because he definitely needs security, and this is not going to go away for multiple reasons. He's an easy target. You know, when you walk around with, $250,000 in jewelry on you, if you insist on walking around with that type of money, then you need professional help. And your friends hanging out with you obviously are insufficient. You need people that know what they're doing.
By the time law enforcement arrived, the intruders were gone. No names announced, no faces revealed. Just a traumatized mother, a rattled family, and a flood of questions. And that's when the internet did what it always does. The CCTV footage hit the gossip pages, then got reposted, remixed, and reframed everywhere. People paused it, rewound it, zoomed in. They took low-quality clips and dropped them into editing apps on their phones and laptops, studying every blurry frame like they were running their own private lab. They stared at the way one masked figure walked, the way another stood with their hips slightly leaned, the way their arms swung at their sides. Wait, that looks like them. Look at the legs. Look at the stance. Suddenly, fans and haters alike started making side-by-side edits. On one half of the screen, you'd see the Island Boys performing or pacing around in their own content. On the other half, the masked figures from the break-in footage. People slowed both down. They circled ankles, shoulders, the tilt of the head. One creator literally broke down the stride like he was studying a player's movement in a sports replay, pointing out each step as if it proved something. Then, the focus shifted from the visuals to the sound. In one clip, buried under chaos and noise, some people thought they heard a voice call out something that sounded like, "Yo, Red." To a random viewer, it might just be a muffled shout. But to people who follow the twins and know their nicknames, that tiny moment set off alarms. They replayed it over and over. Some argued it was clear. Others insisted it could be anything. But once the idea took hold, that someone might have said a name linked to one of the twins, it became what the internet loves most, a piece of evidence that can be posted, argued over, and looped forever. Is it really that word? Is it something else that just sounds similar under bad audio? Or are people just hearing what they already want to believe? It didn't really matter. That small piece of sound quickly became Exhibit A in a crowdsourced investigation with no official judge, no defense, and no rules. Then another layer got added. Viewers noticed a chain peeking out from under one of the robbers' hoodies. This wasn't a simple piece of jewelry. People said it looked like a custom piece, detailed, specific, unique. Screenshots began circulating. On one side, a still frame from the break-in where the chain barely slipped into view. On the other, photos from social media where one of the twins wore something that looked incredibly similar. People zoomed in on pendants, patterns, engravings, anything that could prove a match. Same chain, same shine. This is them. Case closed. Very quickly, what started as a terrifying home invasion in Palm Beach turned into a full-blown internet trial of two Florida twins who, at this stage, had not been charged with anything linked to the robbery and publicly denied any involvement. Investigators had not released their names as suspects, yet the online jury was already deep into deliberations, writing their own verdicts in comment sections and video captions. Underneath the memes, the jokes, and the angry posts, there was a much darker question most people didn't want to look at too closely. What happens when your fame starts fading, the money stops coming in like it used to, and someone else is still living the life you thought would be yours forever? The Island Boys once made real money off going viral. They had bookings, promo deals, features, collaborations. They were everywhere for a moment, not always in a flattering way, but the exposure was constant and the bag was real. But the internet is brutal. One day it's pushing you non-stop. The next day it's done with you and on to the next chaotic act. Streams slow down, promoters stop calling as much, the fees drop. The lifestyle that once seemed easy to afford suddenly feels heavier, more fragile. When your whole identity is built on being visible and outrageous, slipping out of the spotlight feels like losing oxygen. At the same time, they're watching someone who came from the same online chaos still living loud. 6ix9ine is still posting stacks of cash.
Hey, for anyone that's saying that I had robbed somebody's house, 6ix9ine, Red is in the west coast of Florida, and I was in Vegas. I just got to Florida, just now. I'm writing a tax. I just got to Florida. What you saying? Tripping. I ain't robbed nothing.
Joke and the star to just the joke. You go from people cheering when you appear on their timeline to people only sharing you when they want to laugh at your expense. Desperation doesn't always look like someone sprinting through a mansion with a gun in their hand. More often, it shows up as erratic posts, angry lives, reckless flexing, and a refusal to let go of the last pieces of clout you still have. It's late-night rants, messy arguments, and a constant need to explain yourself to strangers who are never going to give you the benefit of the doubt in the first place. And that's why, When one of the twins finally broke his silence about the robbery rumors, it became another piece of the saga. He went live and started firing back at the speculation. He said he had nothing to do with what happened at 6ix9ine's house. He claimed he wasn't even in the area when it went down, that he was all the way in Las Vegas. He started listing hotels, events, times, even small details like taxi rides and arrival moments, piling up alibis as if he knew every second could be important later. I was here. I went there. I took this ride. I just landed back in Florida. What stood out to a lot of people was that nobody on that stream had
Mention me in your videos. Stop. Or whatever videos you're mentioning me in, stop mentioning me in the comment section. Stop! Stop! More comment about someone talking about 6ix9ine, I'm gonna get mad. Stop talking about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear a theory about it. I don't want to hear none of that. Oh, it was this. Yo, Red. Yo, Red. Listen, boy, listen. Stop that, okay? You guys are causing me a lot of trouble, okay? Detectives came to me already, okay? Like, it's getting ridiculous. They're going to my mom. Like, this is a big problem. If you guys keep going with this Island Boy stuff, I promise you I'm gonna get mad.
They pointed to his breathing, the way he circled back to the same points, the way his frustration spiked at certain mentions. Every tiny detail became another data point in the court of public opinion. Eventually, his energy shifted from defensive to outright furious. He started demanding that people stop saying his name whenever 6ix9ine's robbery came up. He called out content creators who were using his image and his past controversy for clicks. He told commenters to stop tagging him under any clip, any angle, any breakdown related to the invasion. This wasn't just annoyance. He didn't just want the rumor corrected. He wanted the entire topic ripped out of his life. He said investigators had already contacted him, that they'd asked him questions, that his family, including his mother, had been dragged into it because of what people were pushing online. He complained that the speculation wasn't just hurting his reputation, it was messing up his real life. And here is where the reality check has to be clear. Publicly, authorities have not released any statement announcing charges against him or his brother in connection with this incident. Mainstream coverage has repeatedly noted that there is no confirmed evidence tying the Island Boys directly to this robbery. The twins themselves have firmly denied that they had anything to do with it. But for the internet, the simple possibility that law enforcement might be paying attention was enough to turn the whole thing into a wildfire. In most stories, that would already be a full arc, a crime, a rumor, a denial, a backlash. But this story added another twist when 6ix9ine himself decided to talk about it. During a live stream, when he was directly asked about the theories connecting the Island Boys to the break-in, he didn't drag it out or hint around for views. He shut it down. He said he didn't believe they were the ones who robbed his house. He described what he claimed to remember from the security footage and the investigation. Young people from the neighborhood, partial glimpses of faces, no visible tattoos that matched the twins' very distinctive look. From his perspective, this didn't seem like some elaborate, internet-organized heist carried out by famous faces. It looked more like local people taking advantage of a loud, polarizing rapper who made himself an easy
We're saying it was the Island Boys.
No, I don't even think Island Boys.
No, I swear, that's what I saw. I swear. That's what. No.
There were kids in this neighborhood.
What
so
the
let
fuck?
me leave that real clear. There's 230 homes in my neighborhood. What it's pointing out to be, yeah, he didn't do that then. But what was pointed out to be that it was kids in the neighborhood because there was no car that came in, no car that left. So it was white kids at that.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Hell no.
There was no tattoos, so
Are you gonna be
this myth that it was those two brothers and there's no tattoos, their face was able to see, there was no tats, so that's just a myth. It's just Instagram conspiracy, whatever fuck. But anyway, long story short, I'm glad that my mom's okay, I'm glad that my dog's okay, I'm glad that my family's okay.
Amazing.
And yeah, these people took the opportunity when I wasn't home.
People realized the twins weren't posting like they normally do. These are guys who usually flood their accounts with updates, studio sessions, flexing, arguments, jokes, whatever keeps the engagement rolling. But during the window when the break-in happened, their online presence suddenly dipped. Their last known post before that quiet period came from Miami, about an hour away from the mansion that was hit. Is that alone enough to accuse them of anything? No. Being 1 hour away from a crime does not prove involvement. But in the age of digital sleuthing, a gap in your posting schedule can start to look like a smoking gun. People pore over timestamps, piece together maps, follow locations, and build entire timelines off screenshots, story views, and archived lives. Little by little, theory starts to feel like destiny. It had to be them. The voice comparisons push that feeling even further. Some creators take audio from the robbery clips and place it next to old lives and songs from the twins. They point to accents, to how certain consonants sound, to the way words are stretched or clipped. They claim that tools show high similarity percentages, but most people watching have no way to confirm how legitimate any of those tools are. What they do see is convincing presentation, strong language, and the thrill of being part of a mystery. Soon, millions of people are acting like experts on walking style, chain design, voice tone, and even how the dog in the footage reacts to certain people. At some point, the goal stops being, what actually happened, and becomes, how can we prove what we already want to be true? And when that happens, the real story starts to disappear. Because beneath all the theories, edits, breakdowns, and accusations, there is one detail that should never be turned into entertainment. A 60-year-old woman genuinely believed she might die that night. She wasn't playing for views or trying to build a brand. She wasn't chasing controversy or posting from the scene. She was just at home, in the place she believes is safe, when masked strangers forced her into a nightmare. A gun pointed at her, doors and drawers being opened, property tossed around.
It doesn't go in your guys' direction, for real. I think you guys take all of your jewelry assets and invest into something, so you guys will never ever be broke again.
Hold on. No, hold on. Hold on.
Podcast.
No.
Here, I'm moving for you. I was giving you
A joke, even a potential staged stunt. People argued over whether her fear was real enough, whether her reactions seemed like acting. But regardless of who the intruders were, local kids, people from the rapper's broader orbit, or names the internet hasn't even considered yet, the result for her does not change. Sleepless nights, jumping at every unexpected sound, fear when the doorbell rings. That part rarely goes trending. Instead, what spreads the fastest is everything that fits the chaos. The twins yelling on live and denying everything. The rapper dismissing conspiracy theories about staging and pointing blame elsewhere. Comment sections handing out guilty verdicts without ever seeing all the evidence. We live in a moment where people with nothing more than a phone, a laptop, and a Wi-Fi signal can pull clips, audio, screenshots, timestamps, and old posts together so effectively that real investigators sometimes have to stop and look at what they found. A rumor doesn't just stay a rumor anymore. It can turn into a full-blown case file made by strangers, complete with diagrams, timelines, and side-by-side edits that look almost professional at first glance. But having that kind of power doesn't automatically mean having accuracy. Just because a video is edited in a serious tone doesn't mean the conclusions are serious or correct. Crowds can help solve mysteries. We've seen missing people found, crimes exposed, and hidden details brought to light because ordinary people refuse to look away. At the very same time, those crowds can also destroy reputations, twist narratives, and ruin lives based on assumptions, half-truths, and incomplete information. The same tools that can reveal the truth can also sharpen a lie. So where does that leave us right now? We're looking at a rapper who turned himself into an easy target by broadcasting his lifestyle and location to anybody who wanted to watch, including people who might not wish him well. We're looking at two viral twins whose chaotic reputation and wild image make them the perfect scapegoats for any scandal the internet wants to decorate with familiar faces. We're looking at a terrified mother who never asked for cameras, headlines, or theories, only to be dragged into all three in the worst way possible. And we're looking at an active investigation that is still wide open, still ongoing, and still holding back answers the public desperately wants to see. The truth might turn out to be much simpler and much less cinematic than all the theories people have built in comments, podcasts, and reaction videos. It might reveal a twist nobody predicted, Or it might quietly confirm that most of the noise was just that, noise. But one thing this story already makes painfully clear is this. In this era, your worst moment doesn't just get recorded and filed away. It gets replayed, slowed down, captioned, remixed, speculated on, stitched into debates, turned into content, and judged by millions of people who were never there, never heard the full story, and may never know what really happened. If you want more deep dives into the untold sides of rap's wildest scandals, and you want to hear the stories behind the headlines instead of just the loudest theories, make sure you hit like and subscribe.
Beef scandal. Don't miss what's coming next.